and the court allowed it. And this particular statement of the enforcement directorate has been put on record, where the ED has said that nothing has been seized in this particular raid, and whatever has been seized was seized by the West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee, not by the Enforcement Directorate. And this, in a way, could be said as the crux of this over 45 minutes of hearing in the Calcutta High Court. And hearing has just concluded as we speak. Now it is up to the top court, the Supreme Court of India, how the Supreme Court will hear them, how and when the top court will hear this particular case, the ED versus Mamata Banerjee's case, because both Enforcement Directorate has filed a petition in the Supreme Court, a specially petition in the Supreme Court. On the other hand, Mamata Banerjee government has filed a caveat that if a Supreme Court hears this particular petition of the Enforcement Directorate, then they should also be made party, and their arguments will also be heard, and post which the court could pass any order. Now it is to be seen when the Supreme Court will hear this particular case.
Absolutely. Clearly, of course, there were a lot of arguments, thick and fast from both sides, the ED's counsel and the TMC's counsel. But the main issue was of maintainability. And that is something obviously that the court has decided on, that this particular plea is not maintainable in court. And obviously now this would clear the decks for the Supreme Court to hear the matter. Sambhav.
Well, it is up to the Supreme Court top court of the country. When will hear the matter? Which bench is going to hear this matter? Whether any, one mentioning was made by one counsel of the West Bengal yesterday in the Supreme Court regarding another SIR issue in the Supreme Court, which was related to the state of West Bengal, to which the Supreme Court said they will hear on 19th this SIR case, but has not hinted anything about this ED versus Mamata case in the Supreme Court. Now it is up to the top court when will it hear this particular case in detail. But if we talk about
any observations that the judge has made while giving this order, Sambhav?
Well, yes, absolutely. There are certain observations made by the Calcutta High Court while adjourning this particular case. The Calcutta High Court adjourned this particular case by citing pendency of a related matter before the Supreme Court.
Okay, we're getting more news coming in now. Sambhav Sharma, thank you for joining us with those details. The Ministry of External Affairs has issued an advisory for Indians in Iran, asking all Indians to leave Iran immediately. The statement reads that all Indian citizens and PIOs should exercise due caution, avoid areas of protest, stay in contact with the Indian embassy in Iran, and monitor local media. Ajay Jandial joins us for more on this story. Ajay, give us more details of this advisory being issued by the MA.
Yes, it was already expected that, the way situation is unfolding in Iran and America and Iran conflict is going on, and the situation in Iran because of the protests which is going on, this advisory was expected. And now embassy in Iran, they have told the tourists, the pilgrims, the businessmen, as well as the other people of India, those who are residing right now in Iran, they immediately have to leave Iran and move out of Iran, so that they are not harmed if any situation occurred, because there are possibility that the protest which is going on over there, that is not stopping. But we have seen that America is continuously saying that they are continuously monitoring the situation, and we know that situation is continuously there are possibility that America could also launch attack over there. So it seems to be the reason, and that's why in Indian embassy in Iran, they have clearly told their people, those who are businessmen, tourists, pilgrims, or other students, those who are studying over there Iran, they have to leave Iran immediately to ensure their safety. That advisory has been issued by the authorities.
Yes, Ajay, and also, of course, this advisory is important because it shows us the Indian outlook as well towards the situation there. Obviously, India is very concerned at this volatile situation in Iran and is monitoring it very, very closely.
Yes, we have seen in the past as well that the government of India always take care of their people wherever they are residing. And when it comes to the Iran, for last more than 15 days, the situation is continuously, worse, because we have seen that more than 2,000 people have died as per reports, and possibilities are, that the number could be more than that. And the way basically these things are happening over there in Iran, there are possibilities that Indian, those who lives over there, they also could get hurt because of the ongoing situation. And other than that, we have seen that how, the US continuously, and Trump, US president, is continuously giving statements regarding the ongoing situation and saying that US is monitoring the situation. And if things worsen over there, if, the protesters are killed by the forces over there in Iran, then US will intervene in this matter. And we know that if US intervention will take place, then it could be, like a war-like situation over there. So that's why the precautions has been, taken by the authorities over here, and they have advised people to move out.
All right, Ajay, I appreciate you joining us with those updates. On that note, we're taking a very short break.
ਲੱਖ ਲੱਖ ਵਧਾਈਆਂ
माघ मेले की भव्यता और पवित्रता का एक बार फिर विश्व देखेगा नया स्वरूप। करोड़ों श्रद्धालुओं के लिए परंपराएं वही और सुविधाएं नई, जहां पग पग पर आस्था और दिव्यता की मिलेगी अनुभूति। जब संगम की रेती पर संत महात्माओं की होगी उपस्थिति, 6 पावन पर्व स्नानों में अखाड़ों के संतों का समागम, पूरे विश्व में माघ मेले की महानता का होगा वर्णन। यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के मार्गदर्शन और माननीय मुख्यमंत्री योगी आदित्यनाथ जी के नेतृत्व में माघ मेला 2026 आस्था की लहराती पताका, विकास की नई गाथा, काम दमदार, डबल इंजन सरकार।
अगर आप बनना चाहते हैं एंकर या फिर आप में है जुनून एक तेज तर्रार न्यूज रिपोर्टर बनने का, तो आप ज्वाइन करें ITV और इंडिया न्यूज Newsx का मीडिया स्कूल। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का कोर्स आपको मौका देता है देश के दिग्गज एंकर्स के साथ काम करने का। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल में आप बेहद नजदीकी से देख पाएंगे किस तरह से ITV नेटवर्क के दिग्गज पत्रकारों की टीम दिन रात खबरों पर काम करती है। इस कोर्स के दौरान आप सीखेंगे एंकरिंग की एक एक बारीकी उन एंकर्स के साथ जो देश को रखते हैं हर खबर से बाखबर। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का ये कोर्स आपके एंकरिंग स्किल्स को करेगा इतना सशक्त, मजबूत, जिससे आप बनेंगे पत्रकारिता की दुनिया का वो चमकता चेहरा जो दुनिया देखेगी और पसंद करेगी।
सारे मोहल्ले हाजी खुशियों दी तुम्बी बाजी हर स्वाद दिले चटकारे नचते ने सारे बाजी लोड़ी दी बधाइयां आज मिल के जश्न मनावांगे
लोड़ी दियां लख लख बधाइयां
हो असली मसाले सच सच MDH
अगर आप बनना चाहते हैं एंकर या फिर आप में है जुनून एक तेज तर्रार न्यूज रिपोर्टर बनने का, तो आप ज्वाइन करें ITV और इंडिया न्यूज Newsx का मीडिया स्कूल। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का कोर्स आपको मौका देता है देश के दिग्गज एंकर्स के साथ काम करने का। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल में आप बेहद नजदीकी से देख पाएंगे किस तरह से ITV नेटवर्क के दिग्गज पत्रकारों की टीम दिन रात खबरों पर काम करती है। इस कोर्स के दौरान आप सीखेंगे एंकरिंग की एक एक बारीकी उन एंकर्स के साथ जो देश को रखते हैं हर खबर से बाखबर। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का ये कोर्स आपके एंकरिंग स्किल्स को करेगा इतना सशक्त, मजबूत, जिससे आप बनेंगे पत्रकारिता की दुनिया का वो चमकता चेहरा जो दुनिया देखेगी और पसंद करेगी।
आज सारे मोहल्ले हाजी खुशियों दी तुम्बी बाजी हर स्वाद दिले चटकारे नचते ने सारे बाजी लोड़ी दी बधाइयां आज मिलके जश्न मनावांगे
ਲੋਹੜੀ ਦੀਆਂ ਲੱਖ ਲੱਖ ਵਧਾਈਆਂ
हो असली मसाले सच सच MDH
Welcome back. You're watching Newsx. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. The top stories this hour that we're tracking for you. India appeals to all Indians in Iran to evacuate immediately amidst escalating crisis and protests, urges Indian nationals to stay away from protest areas. Iran issues counter warning to Trump, says Iran will strike US bases and allies across the Middle East if US even thinks of attacking Iran. Heated debate over ED's raids in Calcutta High Court as TMC seeks protection of political data. ED says no file seized as court adjourns the matter. DMK MP Dayanidhi Maran sparks a row after claiming women in North India are told to stay in the kitchen. Draws sharp backlash from the BJP and the country. The Calcutta High Court has today heard petitions related to the Enforcement Directorate's recent raids on the premises of political consultancy firm I-PAC and the residence of its co-founder Pratik Jain. The Calcutta High Court has recorded ED's statements that nothing was seized during the I-PAC searches conducted on the 8th of January after TMC's lawyer submitted that the plea could be disposed of upon such recording. TMC clarified it was seeking only one relief, protection of its data, if any had been seized. In view of the statement, the court disposed of TMC's plea and adjourned ED's separate plea at the agency's request, noting that related issues are pending before the Supreme Court. Let's take a quick look now at the 5 core arguments presented by the ED and TMC in court today. So what were the main moot points of the hearing, of course, that transpired today? So the arguments, number one, this all being put forth by, of course, the Enforcement Directorate, was nothing was seized by the ED. This is something that has gone on record now, saying no data and nothing was seized by the Enforcement Directorate. Everything was taken away by Mamata Banerjee and her cohorts is also the argument that the counsel, the ED, made in court today. The entire petition is based on arguments regarding election and not infringement of any right. I-PAC should have come here, is what they have said. The address whose premises were involved has not come to court. So, of course, clearly the person whose premises was involved, the company, the individual, that person is not before the court, is what the ED, of course, his lawyer said, and which is why the ED was trying to say that this petition was not maintainable. What was sensitive data seized? Nothing. Petition is to be rejected on ground of vice of vagueness. There is vagueness in the arguments being put forth by the TMC's counsel, is again what the Enforcement Directorate argued and said. Now let's tell you what the core arguments of the TMC were in court today. So the TMC alleged that the ED unlawfully seized confidential political and electoral data related to preparations for the 2026 West Bengal Assembly polls. That was something that was being argued by the TMC's counsel. The party told the court it had a well-founded fear that data maintained for 6 years was seized, calling the ED's conduct inappropriate and amounting to bullying of a political party. That's also something that was put forth by the Trinamool Congress's advocate. The ED raids on premises linked to I-PAC amounting to extraordinary bullying. Bullying was the argument also put forth by the TMC in court. The TMC maintaining that all political data and electoral information should be protected, citing privacy rights. It should be preserved, it should be protected, is what they argued in court. Also, the TMC contended that the seized data has no proximate causal or even remote nexus with any scheduled offence or alleged proceeds of crime under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002. Also putting out that the ED's action violated confidentiality of political party records and amounted to an unlawful intrusion into the functioning, the internal functioning of a political party. Also, the TMC urged the Calcutta High Court to protect the data which was seized during the searches. This is something, of course, that the ED said never happened. They claim that nothing was actually seized and there was no data in their possession. Sambhav Sharma is joining us live for more details on this story. Sambhav, take us through all that transpired today in court and what finally happened once the matter was dismissed.
Well, absolutely. You already have pointed out what exactly happened inside the courtroom, the court number 5 of the Calcutta High Court, where the Calcutta High Court has disposed of the Trinamool Congress petition seeking preservation of the alleged seizure of political data, keeping on record the Enforcement Directorate's particular statement that it did not seize anything from I-PAC or Pratik Jain on January 8th, the day when the raid took place in different places in Calcutta. And ASD SB Raju, who appeared for the Enforcement Directorate, submitted that any seizure was done by the West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee and not by the Enforcement Directorate. And this particular statement of the Additional Solicitor General SB Raju has been put on record by the Calcutta High Court and disposed of the TMC's petition. But as we speak, what is breaking news is that Supreme Court is going to hear this particular case, ED versus Mamata Banerjee, tomorrow as per the cause list. It's pending as per the tentative list, which is
so that's the big
in
breaking
front
news
of
coming
me.
in this hour. Sambhav, as you're telling us, the matter of ED versus Mamata Banerjee has now been listed for hearing in the Supreme Court for tomorrow. The Supreme Court all set to hear this matter. Now, today, the hearing was, of course, adjourned in the Kolkata High Court, is what it was expected now. All eyes were on the Apex Court, and now the Apex Court will be hearing this matter, and they will be hearing it tomorrow, Sambhav.
Well, absolutely. I have a computer generated, one receipt here which says that tentatively the case may be likely to be listed on 15/1/2026. It's computer generated before Honorable Justice Prashant Kumar Mishra and Justice Vipul M. Pancholi. So the two-judge bench is going to hear this matter. The picture will be clear by evening when the formal cause list of the Supreme Court, when it will appear before the formal list of the Supreme Court. But as of now, as per this computer generated list, on 15th of January, the Supreme Court two-judge bench is going to hear this particular case where Enforcement Directorate is alleged Mamata Banerjee and police officials of not letting the ED raids happen in the state of West Bengal. On one hand, the ED's petition in the Supreme Court, and on the other hand, very important, Mamata Banerjee's another petition, a caveat, which was earlier filed by, Mamata Banerjee, state of West Bengal, because if the Supreme Court is going to hear Enforcement Directorate's argument, then they should also be made party, as in the TMC should also be made party to it. And after hearing both the arguments, Supreme Court could pass any orders. So a caveat by the TMC, by Mamata Banerjee government and Enforcement Directorate's petition. It's listed with the name Directorate of Enforcement versus State of West Bengal. The case detail says that it's pending for hearing 15/1/2026 before Justice Prashant Kumar Mishra and Justice Vipul M. Pancholi, the two-judge bench of the Supreme Court. And picture will be clear because this is the tentative list. Tentatively, the case may be listed on, likely to be listed on 15th. But the exact picture will be clear by evening as to this particular bench will hear this particular case or not. But as of now, the matter is before the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court is aware of the matter, and the Supreme Court most likely will hear this particular case tomorrow as per this computer generated list of the Supreme Court. The two-judge bench of the Supreme Court most likely will hear this particular case tomorrow. And what transpired in the Calcutta High Court, you already put details of what happened in the Calcutta High Court, where the most crucial part of the hearing was of the Enforcement Directorate's statement that it did not seize anything from the I-PAC or Pratik Jain's premises on January 8th, and the Calcutta High Court disposed of the TMC's petition seeking preservation of the alleged seized political data. The court noted that the Calcutta High Court had noted that Panchnama shows no seizure of I-PAC office or its director. High Court says nothing survives for consideration, and so far closes the matter. ASC SB Raju has submitted that any seizure was done by West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee. Now all eyes are on the Supreme Court, the top court of the country, from where I've been reporting this. I am inside the Supreme Court as we speak, and it is to be seen when the top court, whether tomorrow, most likely, because as per this list, it's almost clear that Supreme Court will hear, but a formal list will come in the evening, what we call it as cause list. So once the cause list is clear of the Supreme Court, it will be clear that the Supreme Court, this particular bench, as per the computer generated list, the two-judge bench will hear the case, or some other bench will hear the case. The picture will be clear in few hours from now.
All right, appreciate you joining us, Sambhav, with those details. Prime Minister Modi has participated in the Pongal celebrations at residence of Union Minister L. Murugan today. Taking to social media platform X, the PM said celebrations at the minister's residence reflected warmth and vibrancy of Pongal. He further extended his greetings on occasion of the festival, saying, "May this festival add joy in everyone's life." Pongal is one of the most significant festivals for Tamils worldwide and marks thanksgiving to nature, the sun, farm, animals and farmers. Betty Thomas joins us for more on this story. Betty, the Prime Minister celebrating Pongal today in Delhi?
Absolutely, Uday. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has addressed Pongal wishes to all the Tamils, not only across the country but all across the world. So he was kind of taking part in the celebrations at the Union Minister L. Murugan's house in residence in the national capital, and he said that the Pongal has become a global festival now, and the Tamil culture is a shared heritage of the entire nation. The Tamil culture, farmer is regarded as the foundation of life. The Tirukkural speaks in detail about the agriculture and the importance of farmers, and Pongal inspires us one to make respect for nature a way of life, is what PM said in his address. And he also said that India takes pride in the vibrant Tamil culture, and he part of extending greetings in Tamil, Prime Minister Modi highlighted that today Pongal has become a global festival celebrated with enthusiasm by the Tamil communities and those who cherish Tamil culture across the world, and added that he too is one among them. And he stated that it is a matter of fortune for him to celebrate this special festival together with everyone. The Prime Minister observed that in Tamil life, Pongal is like a pleasant experience embodying gratitude towards the toil of the farmers, the earth and the sun, while also guiding us towards the balance in nature, family and society. Prime Minister Modi noted that at this time, different parts of the country are also immersed in celebrations of Lohri, Makar Sankranti, Magh Bihu and other festivals. And he extended his heartfelt greetings to all Tamil brothers and sisters in India and across the world on Pongal and conveyed best wishes for all the festivals. Prime Minister Modi also remarked that it was a matter of great joy for him that in the past year he had the opportunity to participate in several programs connected with the Tamil culture, and he stated that he offered prayers at the 1,000-year-old Gangaikonda Cholapuram temple in Tamil Nadu. The Prime Minister also highlighted that during the Kashi Tamil Sangamam in Varanasi, he constantly felt and remained connected with the energy of the cultural unity. And he recalled that when he visited Rameshwaram for the inauguration of the Pamban Bridge, he once again witnessed the greatness of Tamil history, underlining that Tamil culture is a shared heritage of the entire nation and indeed of all humanity. Prime Minister Modi emphasized that the spirit of Ek Bharat Shreshtata Bharat, which he often speaks of, is further strengthened by festivals like Pongal. Uday.
Thank you, Belly, for joining us with those details. The Indian Navy's indigenously built traditional stitched sailing vessel INSV Kaundinya has been given a water salute as it completed its voyage from Gujarat's Porbandar to Oman's Muscat. Kaundinya is a recreation of a 5th century Indian ship using the ancient stitching technique. The ship departed from Gujarat's Porbandar on the 29th of December 2025, skippered by Commander Vikas Churan with Commander Hemant Kumar, who has been associated with the project since its conceptualization, serving as the officer in charge of the expedition. The crew comprises 4 officers and 13 naval sailors. Jatin Raval joins us for more on this story. Jatin, Kaundinya completing its voyage and being given a water salute?
जी देखिए, बिल्कुल आपको बता दूं कि INSV जो कौंडिन्य है, जो जहाज जो था, जो कि पूरी तरह से जो भारतीय तकनीक से, जो 2000 साल पुरानी तकनीक से जो जिसको जो बनाया गया है, जो कि जो 29 दिसंबर को जो है वो यहाँ से रवाना हुआ था और कौंडिन्य को 18 दिन पूरे होने पर पोरबंदर से ओमान के तट पर अपनी यात्रा पूरी करने पर उसको वैल्यू जो वाटर सैल्यूट है वो उसको जो वो दिया गया था। एनएसजी कोऑर्डिनेट जो 5वीं सदी का एक भारतीय जहाज का रिक्रिएशन है और जिसमें पुरानी सिलाई का तकनीक जो इस्तेमाल जो है वो किया गया है। साथ ही साथ ये जहाज जो है वो जैसे मैंने बताया 29 दिसंबर को जो है वो यहाँ से रवाना हुआ था और 18 दिन पूरे किए। 16 क्रू मेंबर्स इसमें सवार थे और साथ ही साथ सबसे बड़ी बात जो है वो इसमें ये थी कि इसमें कोई भी बिजली का कोई माध्यम जो है वो नहीं था। पूरी तरह से ये जो कपड़े की जो पोल होती है उसकी वजह से यानी कि जिसको तट बोला जाता है उसकी वजह से ये पूरा जो 18 दिनों का सफर जो है इसने तय किया तकरीबन, जिसमें 1400 जितने नॉटिकल जो माइल है वो इसने जो है वो तय की है। और साथ ही साथ इसमें 16 जैसे मैंने बताया 16 क्रू मेंबर से 13 फीट इसकी ऊंचाई थी और इसका वजन 50 टन जो था वो बना हुआ था। इसके 18 दिन पूरे हुए और उसी की वजह से इसको सैल्यूट भी जो है वो दिया गया था। ये इसकी जो जानकारी है वो जो हेमंत कुमार है उन्होंने जो पीएम की जो सदस्य है पीएम परिषद सलाहकार परिषद के सदस्य संजीव सान्याल उन्होंने इसकी पोस्ट पर जो है वो पोस्ट करके इसकी जानकारी जो है वो दी थी। साथ ही साथ जो क्रू के जो सदस्य हेमंत उन्होंने पोस्ट किया कि मस्कट जो है वो दिख है गुड मॉर्निंग इंडिया करके उन्होंने पोस्ट जो है वो इसमें जो है वो डाली थी। 18 दिनों का ये ऐसा सफर रहा कि जिसमें कोई बिजली के संसाधन नहीं थे और जो कोई बेडरूम या ऐसी भी कोई सुविधा इसमें नहीं थी। लोग जो क्रू मेंबर थे वो स्लीपिंग बैग में सोते थे और रात में जब अंधेरा हो जाता था तब चांद की रोशनी के सिवा उनके पास और कोई बिजली का संसाधन नहीं था। ऐसे उन्होंने हालांकि ये 15 दिन में ये यात्रा पूरी होनी थी लेकिन सही सलामत तौर पर 18 दिन पर ये यात्रा जो है वो पूरी हो गई। 2000 साल पुरानी भारत की जो तकनीक है उसको इसमें इस्तेमाल किया गया और कौंडिन्य नाम इसलिए दिया गया कि भारत का जो सबसे पुराना जो नाविक था कौंडिन्य उसके नाम पर इसका नाम जो है वो INSV।
शुक्रिया जतिन हमारे संग जुड़ने के लिए। According to reports, Iran has warned nations hosting US military installations they'll be hit if attacked by the US. If it's attacked by the US, reportedly US bases in Saudi Arabia, UAE, Turkey could be targeted if US were to attack Iran. These comments follow US President Trump's threats to intervene militarily in Iran over the bloodshed during nationwide anti-government protests. Iran has identified certain military sites of the US if they are attacked, Arzu?
Well, Uday, what we're getting to know right now that the advisory has been issued now as the situation is getting worse in
Iran. We are talking about, Arzu, we are talking about Iran's warning. Iran's warning, and which military installations are they targeting, Iran, Arzu, or looking at targeting? Arzu, can you hear me? Okay, I think we've lost our reporter's connection there, but Iran, of course, warning installations of the US military installations that they'll be hit if it's attacked by the US. Reported US bases in Saudi Arabia, UAE, Turkey could be targeted. More breaking news meanwhile coming in. Israeli military spokesperson Brigadier General Efi Defrin has said that the Israeli military continues to be on alert for surprise scenarios because the ongoing unrest in Iran. So they are prepared. Israel has said that they are on alert in case of surprise scenarios. Medha is with us on this breaking input coming in. What has the Israeli military spokesperson said, Medha?
Well, yes, of course. So, in light of the situation that is currently prevailing in Iran, the Israeli military is, of course, on alert, and it has said that it is on alert for surprise scenarios because of the ongoing unrest in Iran. Remember now that Israel had earlier attacked Iran in June as well, which resulted in a 12-day war that had killed roughly about 1,200 Iranians and dozens of Israelis. And over the past week, Iran has threatened to attack Israel if Israel or the United States launches any sort of strikes on the country. And also, the protests in Iran are an internal matter, is what the Israeli military spokesperson has said. And of course, today we also know now that Iran has rather urged all of its regional neighbors that it will strike US military bases in the country if the United States were to launch any sort of strikes on the on the country. And remember, Donald Trump has repeatedly said that he will intervene in the country if Iran were to kill any protesters. And amid all of this, Iran has told its regional partners that it would be helpful if they were to ask the United States not to attack the country in light of the current situation in Iran. Back to you there.
More breaking news meanwhile also coming in now. Dozens of Pakistani students studying in Iran have returned home through a remote border crossing in southwestern Pakistan because of the violent unrest. A spokesperson of the Federal Investigation Agency has said about 60 students crossed into Pak through the GABD border crossing in southern province of Baluchistan. Mudassir Tipu, Pakistan's ambassador to Iran, said Iranian universities have rescheduled exams and permitted international students to leave the country. So a lot of Pakistan students studying in Iran have fled, Medha.
Oh, well, of course, today, in light of the current situation, we also know now that various countries are asking its citizens to leave the country, and now dozens of Pakistani students who are studying in Iran have returned home through a remote border crossing in the southwestern Pakistan because of violent unrest. Now, a FIA spokesperson from Quetta in Balochistan has said that about 60 students have crossed into Pakistan from the border crossing in the southern province of Balochistan. Obviously, Balochistan is a neighboring province which also, Iran and Pakistan share in common. And, throughout all of this unrest, more students are also expected to return from the same border crossing today as well. Now, the Pakistani ambassador to India has also said that, Iranian universities have rescheduled their exams in light of the current situation. Over 2,000 people have died in Iran, and also universities in Iran, including the very prominent Tehran University, has permitted international students now to leave the country. Back to you there.
All right, appreciate you. All right, more breaking news, in fact, also coming in now. Visuals emerging in support of the Iranian regime in Kargil of Union Territory of Ladakh. Pre-riot flag of Iran has been raised there, which was replaced by the lion and sun flag in the protest. Photos of Supreme Leader Khamenei have also been raised. So pro-dispensation protests in Ladakh erupting, Medha.
Well, yes, of course, so their protests are also erupting in Kargil, in Leh, in support of the Ayatollah of Iran, and massive Indian and Iranian flags were also waved during these protests, and also the pre-riot flags of Iran were also raised as well, which was replaced by the lion and sun flag in the protests as well. And also images of the supreme leader of Iran were also raised in support of the Iranian regime in Kargil.
More breaking news meanwhile also coming up. Protests erupting in Kargil in support of Ayatollah Khamenei amidst massive anti-regime protests in Iran. Indian and Iranian flags have been waved during these protests. Symbolic dead body caskets of Trump and Netanyahu also kept on the road as a mark of protest against US and Israel. So this is a big pro-Khamenei protest that has erupted, Medha.
Well, yes, of course, the massive protests, as we were talking, have broken out in Kargil in support of the supreme leader of Iran. And, amid this massive anti-regime protests in Iran, we're also now seeing that after Iran, India also has seen these pro-regime protests taking place. And, obviously, Iranian as well as Indian flags were waved during these protests. And, symbolic body caskets of Trump and Netanyahu were also kept on the road as a mark of protest against US and Israel. Remember now, Iran has repeatedly said that it will strike Iran as well as military bases in Middle East if US or Israel were to take any sort of action against Iran amid these protests. Remember, Donald Trump has repeatedly said that he will strike Tehran if Iran takes any sort of measures against these protesters, including shooting them or, executing them.
All right, more updates, in fact, now also emerging. Iran's Revolutionary Guard's aerospace commander Mossavi has said Tehran is at highest level of readiness to respond to any attack, adding that wartime damages have been repaired. Outposts in various areas by the Guard's aerospace forces was higher than before June 2025. What can be read into Mossavi's statement, Medha?
Well, of course, Uday, now the IRGC is a very important apparatus within Iran. it was established not to protect the country. You have the Iranian army for that, but the main response of the IRGC is rather to protect the Iranian political apparatus, and it was formed after the death of after the overthrow of Iran, and was set up by Ayatollah Khamenei. And now we have a very prominent aerospace commander of the IRGC saying that Tehran is at the highest level of readiness to respond to any sort of attacks. Donald Trump over the past couple of weeks has repeatedly threatened that he will attack Iran if Iran were to take any sort of measures against the country. And he has also said that any sort of wartime damages have been repaired, and that output in various areas by the Guards aerospace was higher than before June 2025. Remember also that Iran and Israel had fought a 12-day war as well, and now the IRGC has come out and said that all sorts of wartime damages have been repaired, and that it is at the highest level of readiness to respond to any sort of attacks that will be taken by its so-called adversaries, the United States of America and Israel. Back to you there.
All right. On that note, we're slipping into a short break. Mamata, thank you for joining us with those details.
अगर आप बनना चाहते हैं एंकर या फिर आप में है जुनून एक तेज तर्रार न्यूज रिपोर्टर बनने का, तो आप ज्वाइन करें ITV और इंडिया न्यूज न्यूज़ का मीडिया स्कूल। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का कोर्स आपको मौका देता है देश के दिग्गज एंकर्स के साथ काम करने का। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल में आप बेहद नजदीकी से देख पाएंगे किस तरह से ITV नेटवर्क के दिग्गज पत्रकारों की टीम दिन रात खबरों पर काम करती है। इस कोर्स के दौरान आप सीखेंगे एंकरिंग की एक एक बारीकी उन एंकर्स के साथ जो देश को रखते हैं हर खबर से बाखबर। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का ये कोर्स आपके एंकरिंग स्किल्स को करेगा इतना सशक्त, मजबूत, जिससे आप बनेंगे पत्रकारिता की दुनिया का वो चमकता चेहरा जो दुनिया देखेगी और पसंद करेगी।
Hello and welcome. You're watching Newsx Deep Dive. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. Today we're looking at a massive shift in the tech world that almost no one saw coming a few years ago. Apple, a company famous for keeping everything in-house, has officially signed a major deal with its biggest rival, Google. This isn't just a small partnership, it's a total game changer. Apple is officially bringing Google's Gemini AI into the iPhone. It's a move that proves even the world's most valuable company knows it can't win the AI race alone. So what exactly is in this deal? Well, it's a multi-year agreement that gives Apple access to Google's most advanced AI models and its massive cloud network. This technology will power the new Apple Intelligence features we've been hearing about. When you ask Siri to handle a complex task or summarize a long document, it will likely be Google's Gemini doing the heavy lifting behind the scenes. While Apple is still promising to keep your data private, they've realized that Google's AI is currently the best tool for the job. It's a billion-dollar deal that shows that in tech, sometimes you have to team up with your enemy to stay on top. But here's the question of importance. Has Apple always been the master of taking the best technology from everyone else, polishing it and selling it back to us as something brand new? Well, to build what they call the perfect device, Apple doesn't work in a vacuum. They've built a massive web of partnerships. Right now, Apple works with over 200 main suppliers worldwide. These companies do everything from mining metals to assembling the final phone, and it also includes giants like Samsung, Google, Sony, Intel, and many other big names. It's a huge operation. Apple basically scouts the entire world for the best parts, and they don't care if those parts come from their biggest rivals. If it's the best, Apple wants it. Let's talk about Samsung. You see the commercials of Samsung and Apple making fun of each other, but the truth is they're deeply connected. For years, Samsung has been the one making the high-end OLED screens for the phone. They also provide for the iPhone, beg your pardon, they also provide the memory chips, the RAM, and the storage that make your phone fast. Without Samsung's manufacturing power, the iPhone wouldn't be nearly as impressive as it is today. Apple essentially took Samsung's best hardware and used it to beat Samsung at the smartphone game. Then there's LG. While you don't see LG phones in stores much anymore, their technology is right in your pocket. Apple uses LG display for many of its screens to make sure they aren't relying only on Samsung. But the big one is the camera. LG Innotek provides the complex camera modules and the sensors that allow your iPhone to recognize your face. When you use Face ID, you're actually using technology that LG perfected. Apple took that tech and made it a standard for the entire industry. And if you're someone who buys an iPhone for the photos, you can thank Sony. For over 10 years, Sony has been the one providing the image sensors for almost every iPhone camera. Sony has built a strong reputation amongst professional photographers, and Apple is well aware of it. Even for the new Vision Pro headset, Apple went to Sony for the tiny, high-resolution displays inside. Apple took Sony's decades of camera expertise and branded it as the world's most popular camera. Even Intel has played a part. For a long time, Intel made the modems that allowed iPhones to connect to the internet. But Apple didn't just want to buy the parts, they wanted the knowledge. In 2019, Apple actually bought Intel's entire smartphone modem business. They took the patents, the equipment, and over 2,000 employees. They basically absorbed a piece of Intel to help build, in fact, their own future. Now, this strategy of borrowing the best tech has obviously paid off massively. If you look at the sales from 2020 to 2025, the growth is incredible. Fast forward to 2025, and the tables have actually turned. Apple had a record-breaking year, shipping roughly 247 million units thanks to the massive success of the iPhone 17 series, officially overtaking Samsung for the top spot. Samsung didn't fall off a cliff. They still moved over 240 million phones, but Apple managed to edge them out with a 20% global market share versus Samsung's 19%. So what's the takeaway? Well, Apple's real genius isn't just in what they invent, but in how they collaborate. By signing this new deal with Google for Gemini AI, they are once again taking the best tool available to make sure the iPhone stays on top. They don't need to be the first to invent AI, they just need to be the best at delivering it to you. Dr. Jaideep Bhattacharya, President CDPR, is with us live. Dr. Bhattacharya, what do you make of this new collaboration of Apple with Google for AI?
This, as you rightly said, Apple was always doing this. They were always collaborating, but more in terms of hardware and less in terms of software. Apple really believed that the software is a key glue, which then is able to extract the most out of all the varied hardware that they're sourcing. So the reason why this particular deal is very different is because this is perhaps one of the few times that they're collaborating on the software side. In fact, if you look at Maps, Apple had its own maps. For a long time, it resisted even trying to put Google Maps onto the Apple platforms. And therefore, this is perhaps the first time that they have brought in a new technology on software which is not theirs, and which is where it's game changing. I think it's game changing from both ways, because it is leading to Google asserting a very significant dominance in AI. Given that Google is able to reach out to the consumers directly, as well as through the huge Apple ecosystem. And AI is always a two-way street. It's not just that somebody is providing a technology and that's that. AI is also sucking in tremendous amount of data. So the more data they're getting in and the more feedback they're getting in, they're able to improve their AI more and more, which means that it'll be very difficult to beat these AI systems in future. So if I start a year later than Google, it'll be virtually impossible to beat them up. And therefore, what we see happening is that beyond Apple stitching together varied components, it's also getting in the Google AI without attempting to create their own AI. Apple shared its own AI project, and therefore we are seeing some kind of a consolidation happening in the AI market in terms of the core AI systems. I'm not talking about systems that are built on the LMS, uh, but these are systems which are the LMS itself. And hence it'll be very interesting to see how this pans out, because typically Apple has come back and tried to take control of the technology. We saw that when Apple outsourced the chips of the laptop, and they got the chips from Intel, and pretty soon they did not like it and they went back and they made their own chips, which is the M1 series, the M1, M2, M3 series of processors that Apple made for the laptops. So even if in future Apple would like to throw away the Google AI and bring in their own AI, because clearly Apple is late in the game in terms of AI, and the end consumer is asking for AI, which is why Apple has been forced to take in the Google AI solution. In future, if Apple wants to throw it out, they will find it very, very difficult. It's not the same as a processor where the technology doesn't change that much in that sense from one year to another year. But in terms of AI, because the system is learning from Apple's own data, it will become very difficult for Apple to get back on the horse and get their own AI system in. So it's a very interesting development. It kind of shakes the leadership in the AI ecosystem, and clearly, I think in this particular situation, Google is the one which is coming up and having an upper hand in the deal because of the nature of the solution.
Yes, absolutely. And Dr. Bhattacharya, also it's shown us how collaborations that Apple has struck have actually helped them better their collaborators.
Absolutely. I mean, that has happened with Samsung. That will for sure happen with Google, because the kind of innovations that Apple brings in forces their vendors, and in this particular case, Google, or in the case of hardware, Apple, Samsung, or LG, and Sony, and so on, to force them to make better and better solutions. The kind of cameras that Sony is providing to Apple now did not exist earlier. It was because of Apple's pressure that Sony was able to come out with these cameras. Similarly, the amount of the kind of memory chips that Samsung is supplying to Apple did not exist earlier. There was a pressure from Apple to really innovate. So they have been taking the entire ecosystem forward, and as you rightly said, the same will happen in the collaboration with Google, where because of the requirements of Apple and because of the demands of Apple, Google will be forced to do very, very innovative things, much more than what they have already been doing. So it's a symbiotic relationship for sure, but also given the kind of steps Apple has taken in the past, especially in the software side, I'm pretty sure that Apple will be itching to get their control back on AI at some point in time in future, not in the next few years, given the deal that they have signed with Google, but sometime in future they'll probably try to get their hands back on AI.
All right. Appreciate you joining us, Dr. Bhattacharya, with your perspective on this segment.
आज सारे मोहल्ले हाजी खुशियों दी तुम्बी बाजी हर स्वाद दिले चटकारे नचते ने सारे बाजी लोड़ी दी बधाइयां आज मिलके जश्न मनावांगे
लोड़ी दियां लख लख बधाइयां
हो असली मसाले सच सच MDH
Asking Siri and Gemini a simple prompt shouldn't get much of a difference in response, right? But take a look at the visuals on your screens. This is a prompt asked to Gemini and Siri in real time. The simplest prompt, which read, what are the best places for coffee in the NCR region? And as you can see with the responses that have been given by both interfaces, there is a stark difference in the quality and quantity of the responses. Let's in fact talk about the difference that won't be lasting very long. Why? Well, let's get into it. Hello and welcome. You're watching Deep Dive on Newsx. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. Today we're going to be taking a look at the AI that is used by Google and will soon be used by Apple as well. The Google Pixel 10 series, it represents a major leap in smartphone intelligence by weaving AI directly into the core user experience rather than isolating it in separate apps. At the heart of this is Gemini Live, which transforms a traditional voice assistant into a fluid conversational partner that can brainstorm ideas, pivot between topics, and even see through your camera to offer real-time advice on what's in front of you. The phone's creative suite, headlined by Add Me and Best Take, solves age-old photography frustration by using AI to seamlessly insert the photographer into group shots or merge multiple frames so every subject is smiling. For creators, Pixel Studio provides a dedicated sandbox for generating high-fidelity images and custom stickers from simple text prompts directly on the device. Beyond creativity, the Pixel 10 acts as a proactive personal assistant with call notes, which transcribes and summarizes conversations while suggesting follow-up tasks, and a robust scam detection system that monitors call patterns in real time to provide haptic and audio alerts if a conversation turns suspicious, all while keeping the data private and on device. Current flagship iPhones rely on Apple Intelligence, a foundation built on high-speed on-device processing and deep user privacy. This suite introduces writing tools for instant proofreading and tone adjustments, alongside notification summaries that distill piles of alerts into a single, readable blurb. The hardware takes a leap with visual intelligence, a dedicated system triggered by the camera control button that identifies everything from restaurant menus to pet breeds in real time, while creative tools like Cleanup offer a basic AI eraser for photos, and Genmoji allows for the instant creation of custom characters. These features currently serve as the groundwork for a more powerful intelligence yet to come. However, for many users, these updates feel like a too little, too late response to Google's dominance. Despite the pro-branding, the current experience is often hampered by the same infamously slow voice response that has plagued Siri for a decade. While a Pixel responds almost instantly, Siri still frequently hangs on a thinking or on its spinner for basic tasks. Apple's rigid insistence on keeping everything on device has often resulted in a walled garden that feels more like a waiting room, with a voice assistant that is notoriously prone to misunderstanding follow-up questions and lacking the fluid, human-like cadence of Gemini. While Apple excels at marketing innovation, they are currently playing a desperate game of catch-up to fix a foundation that has felt stagnant and disconnected for years. In a move that stunned the tech world yesterday, Apple and Google announced a landmark partnership where Apple will license Google's powerhouse Gemini 3 model, one of the largest AI systems ever built, to serve as the backbone for future iPhones, reportedly costing Apple's $1 billion annually. The deal is a strategic admission that Apple's internal AI development reached a bottleneck. To maintain its privacy standards, Apple is using a process called distillation, which shrinks Google's massive cloud intelligence into smaller, hyper-efficient models that run locally on Apple silicon. This ensures that while the brains come from Google, the user's personal data never leaves the iPhone's secure enclave or Apple's private cloud compute. The first major fruit of this deal is a complete overhaul of Siri, transforming it from a basic voice trigger into a sophisticated query planner arriving in iOS 26.4. Moving beyond simple web searches, the new Siri gains contextual awareness, allowing it to see your screen and act on information in real time, such as identifying a flight number in a text and immediately tracking it. By cross-referencing data across different apps through personal context, Siri can handle multi-layered requests like checking a calendar event and local weather simultaneously, providing a unified answer that feels like it's coming from a true digital assistant rather than a search engine. Leveraging Gemini's advanced logic, Siri is evolving into an AI agent capable of performing complex multi-step actions within third-party apps. Instead of just opening an app, you can command Siri to perform agentic tasks such as editing a specific photo with a cinematic filter and posting it directly to Instagram with a personalized caption. This leap extends to complex scheduling, where Siri can autonomously scan your calendar for gaps and communicate with external devices to book restaurant reservations or appointments effectively, handling the busy work of digital life without the user ever having to tap the screen. The integration of Google's models will supercharge the iPhone's creative capabilities, bringing features that were once the exclusive pride of Pixel users. Writing assistants will receive a Gemini boost, enabling the iPhone to summarize long-form documents with nuanced insight and assist in professional-grade storytelling. Perhaps most notably, the Photos app is set to gain advanced image editing tools like Reimagine. This allows users to highlight areas of a photo and use text prompts to change the environment, such as turning a cloudy afternoon into a golden hour sunset or adding entire subjects into a scene, matching the generative power that has defined Google's photography lead for years. So the difference you're seeing on your screen today may be real, but it won't last long, because for the first time, Apple isn't just competing with Google's AI, it's borrowing its brain too. Vivan Sharan, author and partner Koan Advisory, is joining us live in the broadcast. Vivan, is this deal by Apple an admission that their AI simply couldn't keep up with Google's Gemini?
Hi, thank you for having me on the show, and I'm sorry that I'm on the road taking this, but hopefully my audio is clear. Look, Google and Apple have shared a symbiotic relationship for quite a while now. I think Google has paid to the tune of some $38 billion to Apple over the last decade or so to ensure that Apple privileges its search engine on device as a default option. And I think this is one way of analyzing it is, of course, a natural extension of the partnership. But the other, you're absolutely correct in the fact that Apple has been struggling on its internal innovation engine. And in some sense, the stock market has not necessarily penalized it for doing so. It has rewarded Apple for an incremental approach to innovation ever since Tim Cook took over. And one suspects also that the next CEO will also continue to focus on incremental innovation bets rather than very large risky bets, as we're seeing different companies take in compute and AI and so on and so forth. So in some sense, it also reflects the Apple ethos and where it stands today. And finally, I'll say that it reflects in some sense also Google's own success in being able to come out on top after being down in the dumps when if you remember, ChatGPT launched and took the world by storm. It was sort of an application that was built on top of a lot of the work that was actually done in Google's various divisions that look at AI and compute and algorithms and so on. And
Yes.
in some sense, this is
Absolutely. Now, quick question before we let you go on how this is going to transform iPhones. How is it going to make an experience better for a user of an iPhone with Google's Gemini coming on board?
Look, as you said yourself, the agentic function right now is very underdeveloped, even within the device ecosystem. And I think the level of personalization that agentic AI will be able to bring to the fore, if it is actually well orchestrated, will really make a lot of, will help us make a lot of productivity leaps first and foremost. So you or I may not need executive assistants to be doing many of the tasks, or travel agents to be doing many of the tasks that we currently use them for. So I think over the next 3 or 4 years, many of the mechanical tasks that consume quite a lot of time for people who are using these devices, and Apple devices do tend to be used at the top of the income pyramid in India, at least, even though it is a fairly commoditized device in the United States. I think you'll see people less dependent on those kind of mechanical service delivery, as well as the sort of lower rung of folks who are helping with sort of personal assistance in one form or the other.
Yes.
I think it will take that space over gradually, but inevitably.
All right. Appreciate you joining us, Vivan Sharan, with your perspective on this segment.
Two of the biggest tech giants. Apple signs AI deal with Google. Gemini to power Siri in future iPhones. This is like a BJP Congress alliance. This is why Apple-Google deal is making Elon Musk sweat.
Hanun, welcome. You're watching Explained. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. For decades, the technology industry has been defined by the fierce rivalry between Apple and Google. It's a competition that has shaped the modern smartphone era, forcing consumers to choose between two distinct ecosystems. However, we are currently witnessing a historic shift in that dynamic. In a major move, Apple has entered into a landmark deal with Google to integrate the Gemini artificial intelligence engine into the iPhone. This is not just a software update, it's a fundamental realignment of Silicon Valley power. Today, we are decoding exactly what this rare partnership entails. why Apple chose to look outside its own walls for AI innovation, and what this means for the millions of people who carry an iPhone. So what does this deal actually look like? At its core, the agreement allows Apple to license Google's Gemini large language models to power generative AI features within the Apple ecosystem. While Apple has developed its own smaller on-device models for basic tasks, it lacks the massive server-side infrastructure required for high-level generative processing. The deal entails Google providing the back-end intelligence for complex requests. When a user asks an iPhone to perform a heavy-duty AI task, such as generating a complex image, writing a long-form essay, or analyzing massive data sets, the iPhone will securely route that request to Google's Gemini servers. In exchange, Apple provides Google with a massive distribution network of over 1 billion active users. This is a multi-billion-dollar arrangement that mirrors the long-standing deal where Google pays Apple to be the default search engine on Safari. But this time, the currency is AI intelligence. To understand the significance of this, we must look at Gemini itself. Gemini is Google's most capable family of AI models, designed to be multimodal, meaning it can understand and operate across text, code, images, and video. It was officially launched as the successor to Bard in early 2023, but it became the tool of choice for many in 2025 due to its deep integration with Google's vast information index. Gemini didn't just appear, it was a result of years of research at Google DeepMind. Today, as we move through 2026, Gemini's user base has seen explosive growth. It currently serves 35 to 60 million users daily, with maximum usage by those between the ages of 25 to 34. People use it daily for everything from summarizing complex research papers to generating creative marketing copy and debugging software code. The number of Gemini users has increased by nearly 60% year over year because it offers a double-check feature that helps reduce the hallucinations common in other AI tools. By tapping into Google search in real time, Gemini provides a level of accuracy that many competitors struggle to match. The most visible change for the average user will be in how they interact with Siri. For years, Siri has been criticized for being behind the curve. This deal fixes that by making Siri and Gemini work in tandem. In this new setup, Siri remains the primary interface. Siri takes the command from the user. If you ask for something simple such as set an alarm for 7 a.m., Siri handles it locally on the device for speed and privacy. However, if you ask Siri plan a 7-day itinerary for a trip to Japan, focusing on hidden culinary spots, Siri will recognize that this requires deep world knowledge. Siri will reportedly hand the processing off to Gemini. Gemini will do the research and drafting and then send the response back to Siri to present to the user. The processing is expected to be incredibly fast in less than 2 seconds. Apple's private cloud compute is set to ensure that your personal data is stripped away before the request hits Google's servers, meaning Gemini gets the question, but it doesn't know who is asking. What can Apple users expect in terms of practical features? This upgrade introduces system-wide writing tools, allowing users to rewrite or summarize text in any app, from mail to WhatsApp. It also brings Genmoji, which uses Gemini's generative power to create custom emojis on the fly, an image wand which can turn a rough sketch in the Notes app into a polished illustration. Perhaps the most useful feature is on-screen awareness. Because Gemini is integrated into the OS, you can ask Siri to send that PDF my boss emailed me yesterday to the printer, and the AI will understand exactly which file you're talking about. Despite the optics of partnering with a rival, there are 5 clear reasons why Apple has made a smart strategic move compared to its competitors. Number 1, Apple was lagging in the AI race. By partnering with Google, they are instantly catching up and in some ways surpassing competitors without having to spend 5 years playing catch-up in R&D. Number 2, running global AI requires massive data centers and billions in electricity costs. Apple is letting Google foot that bill, while Apple reaps the benefits of the service. Number 3, Apple's real profit comes from selling iPhones. By making the iPhone the best place to use Gemini, they give people a reason to upgrade to the latest AI-capable hardware. Let's not forget Apple sold as many as 247 million units in 1 year, which is 7 million more than Samsung. Number 4, Apple has marketed this as Apple Intelligence. They've successfully maintained their brand identity while using Google's engine, ensuring that the user's loyalty remains with Apple, not with the AI provider. And number 5, by acting as a middleman, Apple can enforce its own privacy standards on Google. They've created a buffer that allows users to benefit from Google's data without actually giving Google direct access to their personal identity. When can you expect this? Well, these features are currently being rolled out in stages. While the initial Apple intelligence launched last year, the full deep integration of Google Gemini is expected to be inbuilt and standard across all compatible devices, specifically the iPhone 15 Pro, and newer with the upcoming iOS 26.3 update scheduled for public release in the coming weeks. Well, you may ask why this is better than just downloading the Gemini app from the App Store. The difference then lies in the level of access. A downloaded app is a standalone destination. It cannot see what is happening in your other apps. It cannot access your calendar, your photos, or your messages due to Apple's strict security sandboxing. However, the integrated version of Gemini has system-level access. When Gemini is inbuilt, it works across the entire operating system. It can pull information from your emails to update a calendar event automatically. It can also look at a photo you just took and suggest a caption based on your previous posting style. You don't have to copy and paste text between apps. The intelligence is already there, waiting for you. It turns the iPhone from a collection of apps into a cohesive thinking assistant. Apple is not the only player using this strategy. The smartphone market has become an AI arms race. Samsung was the first major mover, launching Galaxy AI in 2024, which also utilizes Google's Gemini models for features like Circle to search and live translate. Google's own Pixel series, of course, uses Gemini as its core selling point, offering exclusive features like Gemini Live for natural voice conversations. Even Microsoft has entered the fray, integrating OpenAI's GPT models into its Surface, Lime, and the Copilot app on both Android and iOS. What makes the Apple deal different is the scale. The deal between Apple and Google represents a new era of co-opetition. In a world where AI is moving faster than any single company can keep up with, even the biggest giants are finding they are stronger together than they are apart. For the user, of course, this means a more powerful, more capable, and more intuitive device.
Two of the biggest tech giants. Apple signs AI deal with Google. Gemini to power Siri in future iPhones. This is like a BJP Congress alliance. This is why Apple-Google deal is making Elon Musk sweat.
Welcome back from the break. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. You're joining us on Newsx. DMK MP Dayanidhi Maran has triggered a major political storm after making controversial remarks comparing women in Tamil Nadu with women in North India. Speaking at a government college for women in Chennai, Maran claimed that while girls in Tamil Nadu are encouraged to study, work and be confident with laptops, women in North India are told to stay in the kitchen and only bear children. The remarks were made at an event where Deputy CM Udayanidhi Stalin distributed laptops to students under the Ulagam Ungal Kayal scheme. However, Maran's comments have sparked a major backlash from the BJP. Tamil Nadu BJP spokesperson Narayanan Tirupati accused the DMK leader of insulting North Indian women, calling his statement irresponsible and divisive. BJP leader Anila Singh also slammed Maran, saying India worships Shakti and women cannot be divided on the basis of North or South. She pointed to leaders like President Draupadi Murmu, Sonia Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi as proof that women from all regions lead the nation. The DMK, however, has defended Maran. Senior leader TKS Elangovan said women's empowerment depends on who is in power, adding Tamil Nadu and Congress-ruled states have focused strongly on education, employment and reservation over women, while in North India there is little political fight for women's rights. Kalyani Shankar, political commentator, is joining us on the broadcast. KV Lakshman, senior journalist, is live with us. Saida Siddhabas, political analyst, also joins us live. Manasvi Thapar, political analyst, is also joining the broadcast. Kalyani Shankar, let me make a start with you first. Storm erupting over Dayanidhi Maran's comments. What do you make of what he said and the controversy that has followed?
Well, whether he intended to make a controversy or not, this is all part of the election preparation. Tamil Nadu is going for election this year, and they wouldn't like to leave any chance, and they need the women's vote very badly. So if you give the women all these 80 laptops or something like that, they have given to him. And so all that Tamil Nadu, all that Maran wanted to say was, Tamil Nadu is much superior to women's empowerment than other states in the north. That's what he meant, I think. So anyway, it's a controversy which could have been avoided, but then he did say that. And now there's going to be a longer version of this controversy. And, in a way, it is true that Tamil Nadu empowerment of women had been for quite some time. And then all the chief ministers come from MGR, Karunanidhi, then Jayalalitha, all these people had done something or the other for empowerment of women. So that is a women votes which got Jayalalitha elected, which gets other people elected now. So that is the reason the women's education is being, pressed about. So I think it's naturally BJP is a North Indian party, they say. So the North-South things come already in the election preparation. And somehow or other BJP wants to at least a position in Tamil Nadu, but it takes time. They've been trying for the past so many years now, but that hasn't happened. So now again, this is one more, opportunity for BJP to lash at the DMK.
Yes, let me in fact also get you in here, KV Lakshman, on the political storm that has erupted after Dayanidhi Maran made these comments. Do you believe these comments were in order? Do you believe they are sexist in nature? Or is this a storm in a teacup?
Dayanidhi Maran is known to come up with these kind of controversial statements. Earlier also he described most of the North Indians as Pani Puri sellers, and just to highlight the fact that many people come to South in search of jobs and livelihood and etc. And now in the election season, as Kalyani ji so rightly mentions, anything to whip up controversy and create this divisive appeal, appealing for divisiveness is what has been the forte of DMK, and it is bound to do that. It's an electoral, it's a statement made with a view to elections. And BJP being seen as the North Indian party out there, these sort of any differences of the economy or the status of women or for that matter anything on the issue of development and economy, everything is going to be viewed from the prism of politics now. And Tamil Nadu, the government would like to believe, the state government would like everyone to believe is doing a fantastic job, and it wants another term. At the same time, it has to rubbish the North Indian states of doing so poorly. So this is another statement towards, achieving that kind of an objective.
Yes. Okay, let me get you in here, Saida Siddhabas, as well. The BJP, of course, says that a line is being crossed here. These are divisive statements. This is a pattern of the DMK. What do you make of the controversy that has erupted, Saida Siddhabas?
It's the pot calling the kettle black. There have been various BJP leaders who've made such horrific statements on the same, which has been absolutely misogynistic. As a matter of fact, I remember this BJP leader speaking of Mohan Bhagwat ji, who's the spearhead of the RSS, who once said the same statement that the women belong to the kitchen and the man is the provider who goes out of the home. The fact of the matter is, let us understand, I think Kalyani ji made a very important point there, that the elections have begun. So therefore, with the advent of BJP coming in very strongly, in Tamil Nadu, these kind of statements are being made. I believe women and men, there is absolutely no competition. Women are a much higher breed quotient in terms of intelligence and emotions, be it Dayanidhi Maran or be it Mohan Bhagwat. None of these leaders should make such statements here. Also, as a matter of fact, I think it's direct cohesion of what they are doing. In Tamil Nadu, the DMK, 40% workforce is women. When they have done it so well, I don't understand where is the need to make such a statement there. I know there is a certain north-south divide which is being trying to bring in here only because the elections are around the corner. But let me understand, be it Rahul Gandhi, Modi ji, Dayanidhi Maran, or any leader true to its salt must and should not make such statements because they are absolutely misogynistic and they insult the women brand. And not just that, let us understand that the DMK government has also given away so many laptops and they're doing fantastic work. When he was speaking at the addressing the students at Haide Millat program, he's been distributing students, he's been speaking about students, how they should be young, confident, young women, individuals with laptops and do great work. When you make such statements and then do the bit of politics saying that north mein ye kaha jata hai, south mein aisa hai, and so on and so forth. I think north, south, east, west, India is one, and that is sacrosanct. We need to understand that united we stand, divided we fall. The only way ahead now is to understand that we women ho ya man, both are equal in society, equal at home. They will go out and work confidently. Let us understand Draupadi Murmu, the president of India. What a wonderful, powerful iron lady that she is. Not just her. Look at the many of the women in ISRO. Look at the many women workforce. Let us look at the pride of my city of Bengaluru, Kiran Majumdar Shawji, who's a first self-made Indian woman billionaire. And the list goes on. Look at Sudha Murthy. And the list goes on. Even Kalyani Shankarji. Why not? Let us understand that we men come from women, and we must respect that. Due to that bit of dirty politics, petty politics, we must not speak such language. India in the north or India in the south, India is one, and we will stand sacrosanct on that front. The way forward for politicians is not to do this petty politics on the gender ratio, north and south, and so on and so forth. Let us empower women. Let us give them the best of education, best of knowledge, best of employment. That is the way to go. Also, Adanya Pradhan Mantri Modi ji says, Beti Padhao, Beti Bachao. That is the really way to go. Because without a Beti, there cannot be a Beta. Let us first understand that. Not just that, even women representation of jobs is important. Women representation in the parliament is important. Because if women don't represent their side, who will hear them? Therefore, women representing women and speaking of women causes is the way forward in the future. And that is the same reason why, especially the political leaders, the lawmakers, the policy makers need to understand this. Also, if you look at the law front, the police enforcement front, we need to have able women police officers. As a matter of fact, Uday Pratap Singh Saab, you'd be happy to know that in Bengaluru, we have a great initiative called Pink Autos, where we have wonderful women taking us, as pillions. I think the way forward is women entrepreneurs, more women engagement in leadership roles, in powerful roles. That will be the answer for these naysayers in politics who say women belong to the kitchen and they should take care of children. No. Why should women belong to the kitchen? As a matter of fact, men make great food too. Why can't men belong to the kitchen? I believe women belong to not just the kitchen, but the whole of home. Women belong to the world, and they are super achievers. And they are the successful ones who are running the world today. As a matter of fact, if we need to take Nari Shakti ahead, be it in Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, South states, or even look at Rekha Gupta, who's
Manasvi Thapar, let me draw you in here as well.
Look at
on this storm over Dayanidhi Maran's comments, it seems to be a pattern, is what his critics are saying by the DMK, where they are pitching one India versus the other. The CM says there are two Indias. Now the Dayanidhi Maran says that Tamil women are different, Indian women are, North Indian women are different. What do you make of this pattern of remarks and the criticism that Dayanidhi Maran now is facing?
Uday, let me be very, very clear. No one has the right to insult North Indian women or stereotyping any region's daughter as kitchen-bound baby machines. It's an insult. It is wrong. It is sweeping and hurtful. Having said that, the hard statistical truth of Tamil Nadu is also otherwise. The girls' education, public schooling, and women health in the last 2 decades, the kind of efforts which Tamil Nadu has put, no other state would have done that in terms of setting the data points and taking the women from the center stage to the top of the stage in Tamil Nadu. And this is not what I would say. This is what the Niti Aayog says. This is what NFHS data says. This is what the data of UDISC is speaking in point of the work done by a state specifically for women education, specifically for women public schooling and women health. It is Tamil Nadu way forward than any other state, be it north, be it nearby, anywhere. And the debate could have been a very healthy debate, could have been about the gaps of Tamil Nadu versus the rest of India, Tamil Nadu versus the northern states, Tamil Nadu versus the eastern, western states on data points. But choosing this a very good initiative of Tamil Nadu suddenly just digresses the entire debate from data point perspective, which Tamil Nadu is winning, which DMK was doing great, but suddenly it takes them back because this becomes a point of narration which is setting the tone of election on North versus South debate. And this debate is not going to benefit DMK, it is going to benefit only BJP because BJP is very strong as a political party in terms of polarizing politics, in terms of dividing the vote politics, and these things are very strong for BJP's point of view. So I feel on the data point, if only the data point could have been added, I think it was a great start to that election, but giving it a north-south color is something which is not going to go well with DMK for sure. And Dayanidhi Maran's phrase is completely sweeping and hurtful, and that cannot be tolerated in 21st century India. Though you would have the data points with you, but in a federal structure, there is no comparison between the states. There are multiple reasons that one state is ahead, other state is not. But these kind of comparisons just completely breaks up the federal structure and weakens our constitution. And this could have been avoided in an election season where the quantity of women much educated, the voter women much educated will also not like the comment of Dayanidhi Maran. This should be condemned, and I am condemning it completely. There's no doubt about it.
Absolutely. Well spoken.
Kalyani Shankar, as a woman, what did you make of this generalization?
Well, you see, we must all remember one point. Tamil Nadu has never felt one with the rest of India. They wanted to have the Dravidian Nadu in earlier days, and even Annadurai was advocating it those days. So they were feeling different from the rest of India, and that has been continuing in what Maran says. I'm not justifying it at all. I just don't like it. I don't think that women from north, south, east, west, they all are one. And of course, some may be better, some may be less. That doesn't matter. We must strive to uplift all the women in India.
Absolutely.
That's what, in a backward state like Bihar, and Nitish Kumar has done wonders by just giving them bicycles, school-going children. So that has helped them a lot. So that way, there are many other chief ministers also who have, launched schemes for women. But what Maran said, in my mind, I think he's still living in those days when secession was one of the demands of the DMK.
KV Lakshman, do we expect more such divisive comments to continue, given the fact that elections are around the corner?
Surely. I mean, on that, there can be no debate. DMK, being DMK and what it is used to, it will continue to try and whip up this language issue. I mean, I'm surprised it has not yet articulated in that fashion, but as we approach elections, all these things will definitely heat up. And if the BJP joins the game, and as it has been trying to do all its while in South, but so far it has failed, at least in Tamil Nadu, we can expect more such comments uh, and controversies relating to language, relating to economic disparities, then the center-state relations. All these things are going to heat up the election scene as we know.
Yes, let me in fact also quickly go back to you, Syed Abbas. Syed Abbas, these such comments should not be made, is what a lot of the panel says. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
I don't think you condemn the comment in your earlier statement. You tried to, of course, say that BJP does the same. So this is to be expected. Would you call out this comment for what it is? Do you believe it's insulting to women? Also, Syed Abbas, do you believe such divisive comments should be avoided in political campaigns?
Absolutely, Uday Saab. Myself, you, the members on the panel today, we come from the wonderful creation of God, which is the women. Munawwar Rana very beautifully says, चलती फिरती आंखों से आजान देखी है, मैंने जन्नत तो नहीं देखी, माँ देखी है. We need to understand that, many of our customs, religions, our culture, we believe maa ke pairon ke tale jannat hai. The beautiful heaven resides at the feet of a mother. And a mother is a woman, a beautiful creation of God. I believe unconditionally, unequivocally. Let me take this opportunity on your wonderful network of Newsx and say that this statement was uncalled for, absolutely unacceptable and shameful. But as a matter of fact, Dhanidhi Maranji is in direct conflict with the kind of great work DMK government, Dravida Muneta Kazagam government has done in Tamil Nadu. 40% workforce is of women. Not just that, the number of laptops they have given up to the wonderful women students, high achievers, it's in direct in correlation. The fact is, you do your politics because of this north-south. Let us